12 Power Rules Explained. We start with attention. Attention is the front door of power. If people do not notice you, they do not track you, reward you, or fear you. The first win is getting the room to look your way because visibility decides what gets a second glance. The ladder here starts with noise at the bottom, then moves into focus and ends at control. Plenty of voices can fill a room, but only a few ever shape where eyes land and what feels important. Powerful attention usually sits where three forces overlap: emotion, repetition, and timing. Each one helps a little on its own, but together they make a message stick in people's heads longer than they planned. Some attention is broad but shallow. Other attention is narrow but intense. The matrix shows the split between passive looking and active focus, which is why a small, loyal crowd can matter more than a huge, distracted one. Next up, scarcity. Scarcity usually starts with plenty, then moves into limited access, and finally turns into pressure. Once people think something might run out, the object stops being ordinary and start carrying power. Plenty, limited, urgent. Scarcity works like a chain. When supply shrinks, choice tightens, urgency rises, and whoever controls the bottleneck gets the upper hand without saying much at all. Supply shrinks bottleneck. Bottleneck creates urgency. Urgency boosts power. You can see scarcity in ordinary places. Empty shelves, sold-out seats, and long waiting lists all send the same signal. Access is now part of the prize. The empty shelf. Less choice. Higher demand. Faster panic. Next, sold out. No easy entry. People rush. Price can jump. Also long queue. Waiting costs time. Access feels rare. Status rises. Before scarcity, people compare options and walk away. After scarcity kicks in, they chase the same item, accept worse terms, and move faster than they wanted to. Now, alliances. Alliances turn scattered people into one force. The center matters less than the links around it because shared support, trade-offs, and small promises can hold a group together long enough to win. Shared goal. Inside deal. Voting block. Trust link. A coalition is only as strong as the traits on its edges. Size helps, but discipline, trust, reach, and patience decide whether the group stays together when pressure starts to split it apart. Coalitions often move like dominoes. One endorsement pulls in the next, then another, until a small agreement becomes a wave that changes the balance in the room. A coalition has anatomy. There is a visible leader, but the real structure sits in the supporters, brokers, and swing members who decide whether the whole thing holds or breaks. Let's proceed to legitimacy. Legitimacy is the gap between being obeyed and being accepted. The top image shows authority that feels natural. The bottom shows authority that people question even when it still has force behind it. Authority tends to evolve in stages. First comes force, then rules, then consent. The stronger the final stage becomes, the less visible pressure is needed to keep the system standing. People react fast to anything that looks official. When the setting feels credible, obedience gets easier. When it feels fake, every order has to fight for belief. Some authority is tiny and brittle. Other authority feels large because people expect it to last, follow it voluntarily, and repeat its rules without being pushed every minute. And then incentives. People do what pays, and they avoid what costs. Incentives show up as a pattern, not a slogan. Money, points, deadlines, and public praise all push behavior in slightly different ways, but each one tells people what the system actually values. The cleanest incentive loop is simple. Set the target, attach a reward, measure the result, then repeat. Once that cycle starts, people quickly learn which actions get paid back. Step 1. Set target. Name the outcome. Step 2. Offer reward. Attach a payoff. Step 3. Track result. Watch behavior. Step 4. Repeat loop. Lock it in. Incentives are a magnet for behavior. The literal scene shows money sitting still. The metaphor shows metal moving toward a pole. That is how systems steer people without giving orders every minute. Transitioning to information. Information matters most when one detail changes the whole read. A headline can look clean from afar, but the close-up often reveals who wrote it, what it hides, and why the framing matters. Control over information is control over the map people use. Whoever filters, packages, or times the fact can shape what feels true long before anyone checks the source. A single fact is weak on its own, but a well-arranged set of facts can steer a whole audience. The structure is the trick. Headline first, detail second, context last. The headline. Fast signal. Low context. Strong frame. Next, details. Adds proof. Adds nuance. Can change meaning. Also, context. Explains why. Shows limits. Cuts confusion. Information becomes power when it moves through a chain. Facts are collected, filtered, packaged, and delivered, and every step gives someone a chance to shape the final picture. Raw facts shapes filter. Filter packages frame. Frame drives action. Moving on to time. Time rewards patience, punishes delay, and turns small advantages into big ones when nobody is watching. Momentum starts slow, then compounds, then locks in. Short-term wins look good now, but long-term gains win later. Next up, networks. A network turns weak links into strong reach. One trusted hub can move a whole network. Networks spread power one connection at a time. Now, enforcement. Rules only matter when someone can enforce them. Order appears when warnings turn into real consequences. Soft pressure is subtle. Hard pressure is direct. Let's proceed to narrative. Narrative is facts plus frame plus repetition. A single story can outmuscle raw data when it feels easy to repeat. Messages spread when each layer hands the next one a cleaner story. And then resources. Resources are the fuel behind every serious move. Cut the fuel, and the plan starts shrinking fast. Rich systems can absorb shocks. Poor ones break on contact. Transitioning to reputation. Reputation is behavior plus memory plus repetition. Trust can travel farther than force when people believe the signal. Reputation builds one visible win at a time. That's the core pattern. Power comes from stacking attention, access, trust, timing, and enforcement until other people start adapting to you. Once you see the rules, the room looks less random and a lot more readable.